Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, honourable members. The world is facing its biggest threat of war in over 80 years. The tyrannical aggressor with a finger on a nuclear button has invaded a far less powerful neighbour and is shelling civilian targets as we speak. Over 2 million Ukrainians have become overnight refugees as their homes and their hospitals have been bombed to rubble. President Vladimir Putin is acting with the impunity of a despot with nothing to lose. Let us be very clear, there is no moral ambiguity here. Regardless of the political history of the region or decades of tension between East and West, Russia has committed an unjustifiable act of war. Every world leader with a moral conscience has condemned it and called on Russia to withdraw, but not South Africa's President Ramaphosa. Under a shameful veneer of neutrality, the ANC government has effectively pledged its tacit support for Putin's imperial march to restore his lost empire. And I'm not only talking about the shameful abstention in the United Nations vote. When ANC ministers attend a cocktail function glorifying the might of the Russian army on the very day of the invasion, you don't have to read between the lines. When a lone call from Durko for Russia to withdraw its troops is hastily retracted and the minister admonished, you don't have to read between the lines. And when our president calls Putin between the middle of his invasion, pledging to strengthen bilateral support for him while the rest of the world isolates him, you don't have to read between the lines. To the astonishment of the world, the very same ANC that relied on global solidarity to fight oppression has now openly sided with the oppressor. It has picked the wrong side of history, and it has dragged 60 million South Africans along with it. And why? Is it because Russia once supported South Africa's liberation struggle? But that wasn't Russia. It was the Soviet Union. And that solidarity included Ukraine, the very country being attacked. This was also a long time ago. And at what stage does Russia's recent actions cancel out that historical goodwill? Is it then because it's in our country's economic interests? And I can assure you it's not that either. Russia is only our 38th largest trading partner, accounting for around 0.5% of our exports and our imports. That's less than 1.4% of our trade with NATO countries. And yet we shun our own economic partners in favor of a global pariah. But if it's not in South Africa's interests, then whose interests is it in? And to answer that, you only need to look at Russia's expansion into Africa through its so-called elite capture, where pliable leaders are ensnared in long-term patronage schemes. 15 African countries currently have Russian-financed nuclear deals, and many more locked into Russian security contracts. Also consider that a businessman close to Putin tried to run a disinformation campaign in the 2019 election to favor the ANC, and that the ANC's largest donor last year was a Putin-backed oligarch. When you connect these dots, the full picture of why the ANC support for Russia starts to emerge. Now, there are some who say that this is not our war to become involved in, but that is simply not true. We may be 9,000 kilometers away, but we will soon feel its effect in every single aspect of South African life. When the oil price skyrockets through to 30 to 40 rand, as it's been predicted, this will be our war too. When diesel becomes so expensive that Eskom can no longer burn its turbines, and when the lights go out, they stay out, this will be our war too. When the spiraling cost of importing and transporting food is passed on to consumers who already struggle to make ends meet and feed their families, and we see a large increase in malnutrition, this will be our war too. And when all of this food and insecurity and inflation results in a breakdown of law and order that will make last year's July riots look like child play, this will be our war too. We are already involved, and there is no such thing as a neutral position. As the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu famously said, when you choose the side of the oppressor in situations of, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. Countries that choose the wrong side of history will live with this tag for generations to come. It shouldn't be the hard thing to do, to put country ahead of party and to do the right thing. Honourable members, the ANC does not speak for South Africa on this, and it certainly doesn't speak for the DA. We condemn Russia's illegal invasion in the strongest terms, and we stand firmly with the people of Ukraine. And I urge President Ramaphosa to rethink the position of his government. Think of the plight of the Ukraine. Think of South Africa's place in the world, and think about what this war is going to mean for all of us as South Africans. Choose peace, condemn Russia. Thank you.